The gentleman yields back. I'm going to recognize myself for a second round of questions, and then we'll go over to Mr. Ivey. Ms. Buteau, I want to come back to you real quick. I want to talk about some documents that were requested of information related to targeting parents at school board meetings. This week, the committee received about 496 pages of mostly redacted documents relating to that specific issue. Do you know what the privilege was that was being asserted for any of the redactions in those documents?
With respect to redactions, the purpose of redactions from the department are typically attorney-client privilege, deliberative materials. Without looking at a specific document, I can't speak to it. Additionally, I'm not certain in that space it would be appropriate for me to speak to that in this venue, but again, I'd be happy to work with you.
How would we be able to get somebody in front of us that would be able to talk about those issues specifically? Because what we really need out of a witness here is to be able to talk about the privileges asserted and what the basis is for them and why we're getting so many redacted documents. And though I sympathize with your position, having just been there 3 or 4 or 5 months, and maybe not having taken an integral part in the production of these documents, when we ask for a witness to come here, we need a witness that can actually give us those answers. Who would we talk to about that?
So I can appreciate that concern. I think the role that I play here in any of the Legislative Affairs offices is to be a conduit between Congress and the agency. Each one of these redactions, none of them exist in a vacuum, so we take them on a case-by-case basis. So with respect to the document you're referencing now, happy to see if, through the accommodations process, we can get you additional information, and I commit to working with you.
Yeah, and my line of questioning now really just relates to the 496 pages of mostly redacted documents that were just recently given to the committee this week, in fact, just this last week. Did you take part in gathering those documents together and producing those documents? Was that part of what you did?
With any document production, including redactions, it's a collaborative effort between the Office of Legislative Affairs.
I get that. I just want to know if you were involved in that.
With respect to this production, as you know, this request has been outstanding for some time and it's been a rolling. So some materials may have gone into process before I was even at the department. So yes, I participate. I can't say that page A started before I got there or after I got there, but yes, I was part of the production.
Okay. Who was the person, because I know when we produce documents on behalf of a client, somebody at the end of the day looked at the bevy of documents before they went out the door and said, okay, here's what we got, here's what we're given. Who was that person?
Congressman, I understand it's unsatisfying. It is a collaborative effort. We work together.
I get that. Collecting the documents, get them together but at some point, somebody's actually going to review the last set of documents to go out the door. And they're going to say, okay, I approve this going out the door. Who's that person?
I don't believe it comes down to a single person at the end of the day. That is not how it operates within the department.
Somebody has to send those documents out the door, right?
Yes.
So who's the person that sent these 496 pages out the door? Was it a secretary? Was it an assistant? Was it somebody with authority to look at the stack of documents and say, yes, these are the ones we approve to send out?
Congressman, I want to verify, but I believe at the end of the day, the person who actually pushes the button is not necessarily someone who's part of the chain of determining what goes out of the door.
Well, that doesn't give me warm and fuzzies. You say the person that's going to push the button is not really the person involved in determining what goes out the door. It seems like that is the person determining what goes out the door. So who is that person?
With respect to correspondence, inquiries, productions, and I do believe, as you notated, I've been at the department for 3.5 months. We typically have a process where we receive incoming information. It is then designated to the various components. If it goes to a component or if it's addressed to headquarters, it goes to headquarters. In an instance where there is a component element, that is where Legislative Affairs works with the component, works with General Counsel, everyone works together, and there is an exec secretary that pushes information out. I do think there are some nuances with respect to document production, but I want to make sure I don't get too far.
And I feel bad for you because you're here and you're trying. You don't really have all the information to give us the answers we need. And I feel very bad for you because you're in that position. But That's why I'm asking you who needs to be in this spot, who needs to be in the hot seat, so we can just ask questions. I haven't been rude today to you, I don't think, and I haven't asked unreasonable questions, not to my knowledge. I'm really just trying to ask reasonable questions, and I need answers to those, and you can't give them to me, so I need to know who is that person.
Congressman, I appreciate the treatment here today, and I'm honored to be here. I'm also honored to be in this seat, and you will get the answers you're seeking.
Okay, I'll take you at your word.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ivey, you're up next. The floor is yours.
Thank you,